Cheap versus expensive tools. In this series, we're discovering the worst versus the best you can buy on Amazon for cheap versus expensive. And in today's episode, we're comparing these ratchet crimping tools that electricians use for insulated crimps. This might be the kind of tool that you use on a daily basis. So I've picked up this one for £3.79 versus this one for £45. And we're going to put them both to the test to see whether it's really worth the extra money to pay for a premium tool versus the cheap knockoff stuff that you find from time to time on Amazon. Now, this is completely unbiased, not sponsored. I'm just going to give you all of my thoughts, and we have done a whole series of these videos, so you'll see a playlist at the end where you can watch more. But why not like and subscribe so that you can join our tool journey as we dive deep into all kinds of tools for Sparks on the Tools for Sparks channel. So, without further ado, let's jump into it. So as I say, this was 45 quid on Amazon. It's from KS Tools. This one was just under 4 quid from Amazon, and it's from Silverline. This one didn't even come in any packaging, as far as I'm aware. This one's come in the standard plasticky packaging. For all intents and purposes, they are designed to do the same thing. And they look pretty much the same. If we put them back to back, they're the same size, same layout, they look almost identical. So my question is it really worth paying £45 for this when I could pay £4 for this? First, what I'm going to do is give you my overview on any differences that there might be with the tool, and then we're going to test them using some insulated crimps that I've also bought from Amazon. Let's see the opening first. Okay, so they're both ratcheting insulated crimp tools. They've both got a ratchet and a clicky sound as you open them. This one. Okay, so immediate thoughts are this does feel a bit more premium. The handle on this is just solid plastic, whereas this you've got the rubbery kind of grip thing. The ratchet, interestingly enough, on this is just one ratchet, whereas this has got like 3 pieces of metal side by side, so you'd think that this would be a little bit more solid, but actually the ratchet doesn't feel quite as premium. However, it feels fine and does the trick. How about this one? Okay, so there's something weirdly satisfying about the way that these ratchet things click. Yeah, I do like the sound of that, but you know what, is it worth an extra 40 quid? I'm not sure. Other than that, if we look at them side by side, this one's not got any branding on the metal, it's only got branding on the handle, but obviously that shouldn't make any difference to the quality. The metal itself, this is a little bit more glossy finish. This one's a little bit more matte. They've got pins in all the same places. However, these ones have little rivets on which seem a little bit bigger. This one's got a little marking on it with the plus and minus, whereas this one's not marked at all. And then you come to the actual die. So with the die on this one, it looks like it's held in with a couple of screws. This one, it's held in by these solid pins as far as I can tell. If we open this one up, yeah, so you just got 2 screws there that go all the way through from side to side. The die themselves looks fairly decent. Looks like it might be replaceable, so if the dies wear out, you can just replace the dies rather than replacing the whole tool. Same with this one. I'm not sure if you can replace the dies because, yeah, it doesn't look like it. It's got these little like bits here that give it a little bit of flexibility. The die does feel like it's a slightly different material to the main body of the tool. I don't know if it's slightly harder or something like that. It looks pretty good quality. The colour in the little dots here, the paint has spilled over in some of these, versus these ones, the paint is quite precisely put into each hole. So, you know, a little bit of detail on there that shows that this is a better quality tool in the way that it's built, a little bit more precision. Other than that, they look basically identical. So the real test will be using these to crimp some stuff. Let's have a go. So I bought myself this little set of insulated crimps. Now, if you don't know how these work, basically the wire goes in one end, another wire goes in the other end. This is what we call a through crimp, and it basically is to join wires together. So the yellows are for, I think, 4 to 6 mil. The blues are for 2.5 mil, and the reds are for like 1 to 1.5 mil. There's no actual thing on here to say what the sizes are, but you've got all sorts of different ones. You've got like these blade ones, you've got these which are often used for like connections in low voltage systems like cars and stuff. So you've got the blade here and then that, and they go together to join two wires together. These are kind of handy to have as a set, and I will leave a link below where you can get these. As electricians in the UK, we use through crimps sometimes, but I'd say the thing that we use the most is probably these for earthing and bonding. So earthing the casing of a light fitting or something metal, these are quite handy, or creating flying leads for steel or armoured cables. You might use a larger one like this, or like this, or you might use a tiny little red one like this. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to use the blue ones. I've got some 2.5 mil earth wire. So this is a stripping, cable stripping tool, automatic wire stripper. I did a separate review video comparing this 50 quid one to one that was a lot cheaper off Amazon. So watch that after this if you're interested. I'm just going to strip that back, and this is 2.5 millimeters squared. So what I'm going to do is use it with this blue through crimp, like that. Needs to be stripped back slightly more. Put the crimp over like that. And what I want to see with this is what's the action like as we crimp down? How solid is the connection to the actual wire? Is there any issues with the quality at all or not? So you just put that into the jaws there, line it up slightly so that it's held in place, and then crimp down. And that goes down, and what it does is it does a double crimp. This crimp part is just to crimp the plastic onto the outer part of the wire, and then this bit is actually crimping the metal inside the through crimp onto the wire itself. And I must say that that is a very solid connection, nothing wrong with that. The action was okay, you know, but we'll compare to the other one now and we'll see. Maybe we'll feel a difference when it comes to the other one. So I'm going to strip this back here now. We'll try with another ferrule, another crimping, another insulated crimp, and we'll use this KS Tools one and see what the difference is. Okay, so initial impressions are that this was a little bit harder to squeeze down. Now I don't know if that's because it's actually giving us a more solid connection or not. If we put these side by side, this is the back side, you can see that the KS Tools one seems to have given a bit of a stronger imprint on the wire. Same on this side. And actually the part that it's crimped down is slightly different as well. So the metal part that's been crimped down there is further back here versus that one, it's a little bit further forward. However, they both seem to be really strong connected to the wires. They both seem to have done a good job. So overall, I think it's pretty much kiff kiff, as they say in France, like it's pretty much 50-50 there. Let's try it with a slightly larger wire and a yellow crimp and see how that feels. So now this is a 4 mil cable, and I believe the yellows are for 4 to 6 mil. So we'll pop our yellow insulated crimp over there, and we'll start with the cheaper one first, again like we did before. Put that in the jaw. Oh, yeah, it's a lot harder. Now, interesting, that has crimped it so hard that it almost looks like it's gone through the plastic into the metal. It's a very solid connection, which is what we want. That is not going anywhere if I try and twist it or anything. It's not going anywhere, so it's pretty solid, but it was quite hard. Try it with this KS Tools one now. Oh, yeah. Okay, again, that was very, very difficult. I've probably left the wire stripped a little. Oh, well, that just pulls off. That's not great. I think I might have left this stripped back a little bit too far, so I'm going to have another go at that. That's probably user error. Let's try that again. Okay. Yeah. Oh, no, that's pulled out. Wow. Okay, that is interesting. Wow, I think we might be onto a winner with the cheap one on here. This is a turn up for the books. I'm going to give this KS Tools one more shot. Okay. Yeah, that seems pretty solid now. So I think what I had to do is set this back slightly further into the die, and that seems to have done the trick. So it's possible that it was user error, but that's pretty strong. So we've got a good solid connection. Now if we compare these side by side, we can see that the KS Tools one has a nice little 3 dots on it, quite a nice little imprint. That's just got a little oval on it. The bit where it actually crimps the outer insulated part of the crimp goes back further. On this one, it only covers a small, few millimeters. And that was the same with this one, if you remember. So it's not just the individual crimp. One tool is designed to crimp the outer plastic a little bit further. This tool is designed to crimp it only a small way. I don't really know if there's much benefit in crimping it further or not, but it's just an observation there about the tool itself and what it does. Now let's do one more test, and let's use the ring crimps now, just to see if there's any difference crimping a ring crimp versus crimping a normal insulated through crimp. So here, the ring crimp, the nice thing is you can put the wire in and you can see how far it comes through. You don't want it to come through too far, just enough. And then I'm going to put it in our cheapo tool and see what the result is. Okay, so that's done a good job. Nice solid result. No issues there at all that I can see. Let's try again with the expensive one. Yeah, it's definitely more difficult to crimp with this. It's a little bit stiffer. I don't know if that's just because it's giving more pressure on the actual conductors, but they both seem to have done a good job. I can't really see much improvement in quality between the two. Very, very interesting. This costs £45 and this costs £4. A whopping 40 quid difference between the two. And I must say that in terms of quality, there is very little, if no difference at all, in the quality between these two tools. The only advantage I can see to this one is the nice rubberized grip, which enables you to grip on a bit stronger, and the fact that the ratcheting part feels a little bit more premium. Other than that, this one does a perfectly good job. Feels nice, it's easy enough to work with, and for the price, well, for me, it's a no-brainer. And that is a first in these cheap versus expensive comparisons. Usually, and I am a tool snob here, usually the expensive one always comes out on top, but not in this case. I'm really, really impressed with this Silverline tool, and I will leave you an Amazon link below, because you're in the market for one of these. It's a no-brainer for the price. It's just so cheap, and it's a good tool that does the job that you want it to do. Now, obviously, I've just done an initial test on these, and time will tell with tools whether they last a long time or they break. You know, we've not done a time test between the two of whether this one will survive for years versus this one. We don't know, but my initial thoughts are really impressed with this very cheap insulated crimping tool. Now, if you enjoy these kind of videos, YouTube's going to suggest you some more up here. Why not settle back and watch some more? And if you like and subscribe, you'll get more videos like this popping up into your feed shortly. If you love tools like us, then please join the Tools for Sparks movement and get on board, because we've got some great videos coming up for you guys soon. But either way, thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.